It's the third Saturday of the month, so let's talk about TVGP's Game Club. Game Club cast. I am your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpir.
Hello.
Sorry, somebody just posted some spam in chat literally as soon as I started recording this. Grumble, grumble, grumble. The Game Club game this month is Ziggurat.
Yes.
Thankfully, a roguelike that is near and dear. I guess the genre is near and dear to the heart of Moonpir and I.
Yeah, thanks for that, Isaac.
Yeah. Isaac says you're welcome. Well, let me just see if I can ban this person real quick. Scroll down. Click on that guy. No, I don't want to do that. Alright, we'll worry about that in a second. Alright. Let's talk. Usually I say, hey, we're going to talk about spoilers. That's not really going to be a thing for Ziggurat.
No,
so
it's impossible to spoil this game. It's a 5-level dungeon that you run repeatedly.
Yeah, and they have bosses.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep.
Let's break out the details of this game. Originally released on October 23rd, 2014, and then sort of staggered releases across multiple platforms over the course of the next 2 or so years. Published and developed by friends of the show, Milkstone Studios.
How are they friends of the show, by the way?
Oh boy, we've been covering their games sort of accidentally ever since they put out their first game on Xbox Live Indie Games on the 360.
Was it the Tornado Whirlwind game?
No, they put out some like sheep puzzle game and some cool racing games.
It wasn't Flock, was it?
Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to look it up, but they've always been friends of the show, and you know we've been covering them all the way up until their smash hit Ziggurat.
I now own 3 of their games because of that, because they have a Milkstone bundle on Xbox Live. $20 for 3 games, or like 15 for Ziggurat. So, guess what?
There we go. Was released on PC, Wii U, PS4, and Xbox One. And probably of note, though, if anyone played a lot of games in the 90s, this game was very clearly, as they say, inspired by Hexen and Heretic, which were basically level-based versions of this, and not roguelike, but pretty similar. Metacritic is 80, OpenCritic is 78. Probably the reason for the scoring a little bit lower is because of its peers for its release date. We have a bunch of them, but they're all important. But the one at the end of the list is probably the most important.
Oh, no.
And probably why this one will get our rating for top of the pile, middle of the pack overlook. So, Drive Club came out. Borderlands, the pre-sequel.
Okay.
The original, like, PC, PS3, 360. Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition.
Okay.
The Evil Within.
Okay.
Yeah. Killer Instinct Season 2.
How many big titles came out?
Shadow Warrior.
Oh, wow.
Sunset Overdrive.
Oh.
This is all in the month of October, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And last, but certainly not least, The Binding of Isaac Rebirth.
Oh, wow.
A roguelike couldn't have launched at a worse time than, hey, one of the most popular roguelikes is back, and it's not bad now.
Yeah, that's... I mean, I kind of feel bad for it. Like, I mean, I'm sure we can both agree, bottom of the pile. Like, nobody talked about this at all.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because... It's really unfortunate because it is a good game, and I think it is a really good roguelike, and it's really fun, but man, it just kind of came out at the wrong time.
Yeah, I mean, let's say, fairly or unfairly, the first 3 games on that list were all maligned for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
Fans of the genre will be focusing on the bottom of that list. And then you've got Sunset Overdrive, which stole the headlines when that thing came out because everybody was talking about that.
Yeah.
Nobody's really going to be talking about this. I mean, like you said, it's a good game, but That's a rough time to come out.
Yeah, and I feel like looking back on a lot of coverage from when Ziggurat came out, a lot of the coverage was, hey, this game is really good. Give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
I understand if you don't have time to.
Yeah, I only knew about it because Giant Bomb did a quick look of it because it grabbed Vinny's attention. And Vinny did a quick look of it. I think he did it with Alex. He was it was literally like one run through kind of thing, but it grabbed my attention from that, and I actually wrote it down on my notes of games I might be interested in buying based off quick looks.
Right.
Which is in a pad over there on the dark side of the room where we don't go and we don't show the people on the webcam.
The cursed corner.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like Ziggurat. I think when you look at it, it's certainly not a perfect game.
No.
They're a small studio, and a lot of the games they put out are really good, but they're smaller in scope just by nature of the size of the studio.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of works for Ziggurat, because one of the things I really like about it is when you look at the character select screen, it's very, very, very clear about what you need to do to unlock those characters. It's like kill 100 carrots, you're 35 out of 100, stuff like that.
It's not like the Isaac where it's like, how do you unlock the Lost?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Wink. Like, are there more characters? I don't know. Risk of Rain did something similar to what Ziggurat did, where it's like, all right, look, you need to beat this boss with this character, or you need to do X actions with this character so many times.
Yeah.
And that's really great. And Ziggurat has, like 15 characters? It's a ridiculous number of individual characters.
Something like that, yeah. I think I'm only about halfway through unlocking them. This game has been let's get it out of the way. It's like a first-person shooter with magic, Harry Potter and in the Doom engine kind of thing.
That's very much where the Hexen and Heretic influence comes in, because for anyone that hasn't played either of those, they came out in like maybe the mid-90s.
Mm-hmm.
They were on the Doom engine, and they were literally Doom with magic. It's wands and spells and stuff flying out of your hand, but it was very much level 1, level 2, level 3, Act 1, Act 2, that sort of stuff, as opposed to Ziggurat being a roguelike.
Yeah. But no, the big thing that will scare people away, I think, from playing this is the issue I had with it. Which is really, my one major negative with it is you don't move quick enough off the bat. You can get the acrobat who moves really, really quick, but he takes some time to unlock, and it feels like at the start of the game you are struggling with your movement speed because you are not fast enough to dodge out the way of bullets or spells that are coming towards you. You are very much just slightly too slow, and
there's that one boss early on that has that giant hammer. He has the curved horn head.
Yep.
And it's
and
I
he
can't
hits you every single time.
Yeah, it's I just need to burn him as fast as I can, because I can't. What's crazy about Ziggurat is you move blisteringly fast when you're running.
Yep.
But you can't sidestep, or you can't really do any of that. That's just really, okay, I've cleared a room, I just need to zoom through this thing, click in the stick, and just get moving.
Yeah, exactly. That's a destination A to B move rather than an actual, useful in combat thing. Eventually you unlock the haste spell card,
right,
which that changed the game for me, because anytime that showed up, I picked it up and I felt so much better in myself and stronger. That it then becomes a case of, now I can circle strafe around everybody, which it still makes me laugh. It's 2017 and I just used the term, it's 2018 now, idiot. And I just used the term circle strafe.
Well, I think it still applies, I believe.
Not as much.
Yeah, one of the things I do like a lot about Ziggurat, I'll get to my one beef of the game here in a minute, but I do like whenever you level up, it does give you the option of one of two, and then potentially expanding that option later, one or two cards that are going to give you some bonus. Like the one I like on really early on in runs is where you can break items in the environment and it gives you health back.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like one of the great underrated benefits. But I feel like those are really great because it, unlike something like Risk of Rain or Binding of Isaac or a roguelike that we've spent a considerable amount of time with, if you compare Ziggurat to Binding of Isaac, for example, the two of them seem very similar where, Ziggurat, as soon as you start a floor, you have a new item right in front of you. There's usually like an item room where you get a chest at some point and it'll give you something. But the feeling of potentially rapid progression that you sometimes have in Binding of Isaac, where it's like, I picked up 2 items, now I'm doing 400% more damage, doesn't really exist in Ziggurat. And I think you get a slower progression ramp, but the benefit of that is each one of those perks you pick when you level up is beneficial in a pretty major way.
Yeah.
And it encourages you to clean out everything in the entire floor.
Yeah, because you got the XP meter thing happening. Like, it's one of those things where we've discussed it before on Isaac. There is a perfectly good chance of you having a ain't going nowhere this time kind of run where you know you are doomed from the second floor. Yeah. I've never had that with Ziggurat. I've been an idiot and died before I should in Ziggurat,
right.
But I've never had that run where it's just, you're not going to make any progression with this build.
There's creeping dread where it's like, this is not... Yeah, like a lot of times, once you get down past the second floor, I feel in Ziggurat, the only thing you really have to watch out for are champion enemies.
Yes.
Or those rooms where it's like, you can only move while you're jumping, and enemies are twice as fast. It's like, oh god, why?
Yeah. But even then, they have the flip side where they do give you the really slow enemies, really weak enemies. Mm-hmm. They give you the
double XP, double damage,
double drops.
Yep.
Like your one does 4 times as much damage, but everything else does like 50% less.
Yeah. So,
it does give you the flip side of both positive and negative. It's a roguelike, but I don't feel it's as punishing as other versions of roguelikes have been. Like I feel like this is very much a good beginner's roguelike, especially if you happen to have that experience from like the Doom engine, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot easier too because we're going to talk about Isaac because we're talking about roguelike. Sorry. The frustration of some people with Isaac is that it's not a dual stick shooter, which I understand, and I feel like if you might not have that in Ziggurat because it is a fully first-person shooter. It just, you're also flinging around spells.
Yeah.
I think my major criticism about this game, and I feel like this might go away if I were to play it on PC, so I was playing it on PS4, and I'm assuming you were playing it on Xbox One.
Yes.
Is that game is dark. Like, graphically, draw distance, and, like, the look of the game, I don't know if I was doing something wrong or there wasn't a gamma slider that I found in the game. Pretty dark, and at some points could be in those really, really big rooms, could be really hard to see enemies that are shooting you from a considerable distance. But Moonpir is giving me a look that makes it sound like it's maybe just my TV.
It might just be a you thing.
Okay.
It was slightly darker than average, but I tend to have not brightness because that gives me migraines. I tend to have my gamma turned up quite a bit because
Right.
Long story short, I get migraines if a TV is too bright. If my wife turns off her TV, it goes to a blue screen, and that blue screen is possible to give me migraines just from the light coming out.
It's that like blindingly bright. Yeah.
It's the stupid blue light, and it gives me headaches.
Yeah.
So my default setting on my TV is I always have my contrast way up and my brightness way down.
Oh, okay.
So it gives the illusion of brightness while not actually being too bright, and I also have my backlight turned off. So it could just be one of those things where it could just be your brightness settings, because on the big rooms I had issues occasionally, but nothing to the point where I ever actually felt like it was a negative.
Okay. Yeah, it must be my TV being funky then.
Could be.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other notable stuff here in Ziggurat. I feel like a lot of the enemies and bosses are pretty interesting, but this isn't really a negative, but they all kind of feel like D&D enemies.
D&D enemies / internet memes. When you go up against the giant Venus flytrap thing, and it's called Audrey.
Oh, is it?
Come on.
I never caught its name.
Yeah, the giant Venus flytrap boss is called Audrey.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, I love that reference. That's an amazing reference. But come on.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it taking inspiration from D&D is definitely not a knock, because everything has.
Yeah.
Basically, since D&D came out. I sort of wish that there were maybe like 1 or 2 more enemies. I feel like even on a standard, like all the way to the end of the game, the 5-floor run,
there's a lot of repeating.
Yeah, there's a lot of repeating. It's like, I'm going to fight the same skeletons. I always like fighting the carrots. I think that's just a really funny idea of just these killer carrots.
I love the fact that they have lore entries. Like, there's in-game lore that you can pick up, and they have an entry just dedicated to them. Yeah,
that's really good. It's really nice to see a studio sort of take their game seriously and have fun with it. It's not like a super jokey game, but it's going to have a little bit of fun with itself, because, I mean, you're fighting killer carrots. I mean,
the story, it's actually, the story in it is minimal but very dark, and then it's like, here's a carrot chasing you.
Yeah.
You get an achievement for killing a flying skull with a flying skull called Head On.
Right.
Oh,
man. Anything else you liked or didn't like about this game? It's sort of not the deepest game, so I hesitate to drag it out too long.
No, I mean, it's got a lot of weapons in there that I like, but it felt like it only had like 4 weapons in each class, or in each weapon category. That could just be because I haven't unlocked all of the weapons yet, but when I've unlocked a whole bunch of stuff and I'm still only getting the same 3 or 4 weapons in those slots, it's a little bit repetitive in that sense, but at the same time, it's like maybe an hour to do a run, and you can actually save and quit and come back to it at a later date. Yeah. So it works out quite nicely for like a little 30-minute jump in, jump out, 30 minutes, jump in, jump out kind of thing.
Yeah. And they had daily quests too, daily runs, which I haven't done any of those.
Yeah, me neither. I'm just trying to get through the unlocking process.
Right.
But it's a good game. It's slightly limited, but there's not a knock against the game. It's a small studio.
Yeah.
The stories they tell in the secret rooms tell you as much. Like, they go through their games as they were released, and they admit the pros and cons of them. They're like, this is a game called Rifle Range that we made just because we wanted to do a first-person shooter, and it's literally just a shooting range that they released on the PC.
Right.
It's like very limited. They even say it was very limited, not a whole bunch to it, but people liked it. So
yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, well, that's Ziggurat. If you're listening to this and you haven't played it, give it a shot. It's on something you own, and it's good. I mean, there's especially, I like your recommendation too, that if you haven't played a lot of roguelikes, this might be a really good starter. Isaac is too intimidating, or Risk of Rain is maybe a little bit too difficult, or something like that. Yeah,
Flint Hook moves too fast as well.
Yeah, Flint Hook is made by madmen, just in general. All right, let's talk about our next game.
Yes, I have not looked at the votes since I voted.
All right, so since this is the every other month thing, this month was chosen by patrons. We had 3 choices. Coming in last place with no votes was Massive Chalice.
And my wife was very disappointed about this, by the way.
Yeah, it's still on the list, so it'll come up eventually. Second place, we will play this at some point because I know Moon is going to love it, is Ori and the Blind Forest.
Yep.
It was neck and neck with a winner for a while, but winner with double the points of Ori and the Blind Forest was The Mummy Demastered.
Ooh, there's that Metroidvania.
Yeah, I'm very excited to play because I like Way Forward's games a lot, and apparently this is a really good Metroidvania. So
yep, that's everything I've been hearing about. It was, oh hey, movie tie-ins are back. Oh hey, by the way, they're really good.
Yeah, and Way Forward makes just really great pixel art. I'm really excited.
Don't get me wrong, it's no ACA Neo Geo, but you know.
Oh sure, I mean what can be. So Mummy Demastered came out on PS4, Xbox One, PC, and the Switch. So you can get it on the go if you'd like. I was talking about the Switch on that one, but I guess also if you have like a NVIDIA Shield.
Yeah, that's true.
Play it on that.
Who's got a Shield?
Yeah, not me. I'm not made of money over here.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to buy a 4K TV. All right, well, thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you next month.
See ya.